advocates, member of the bar, distinguished forensic experts, and dear participants present here, as well as participants and all the esteemed dignitaries who have joined us virtually. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the third workshop in our ongoing series focusing on forensic evidence, a field that is increasing critically to the pursuit of justice. Before we begin today's session, let us commence with the Nalsa theme song, a musical embodiment of the spirit and mission of the National Legal Services Authority, which provides legal aid to the vulnerable and marginalized section of the society.
जाणीव न्यायाची सगळ्यां खातीर मळब न्यायाचे सगळ्यां खातीर आनंद न्यायाचो सगळ्यां खातीर विश्वास न्यायाचो सगळ्यां खातीर आमच्या ह्या भारत देशाचेर हक्क आमचोय बी आसा न्यायाच्या ह्या आसऱ्याचेर हक्क आमचोय बी आसा मुठभर मळबाचेर हक्क आमचोय बी आसा मुठभर मळबाचेर हक्क आमचोय बी आसा
अशें समजू नाकात दुखणें आमचें खंयच आयकचें ना आतां न्यायालय स्वता चावडे मेरेन येतलें
निराधारांक न्याय मेळटलो दुखेस्तांकय बी न्याय मेळटलो दिनदुबळ्यांकय बी न्याय मेळटलो देशाचेर हक्क आमचोय बी आसा उमेदीच्या ह्या फुलबागेचेर हक्क आमचोय बी आसा मुठभर मळबाचेर हक्क आमचोय बी आसा मुठभर मळबाचेर हक्क आमचोय बी आसा
गरीब आनी दुबळ्यांक फुकट तसोच घटमूट कायद्याचो पालव दिवपाक बांदील आसा विधिक्त सेवा प्राधिकरण नालसा न्याय सगळ्यां खातीर
We would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the technical team for playing the song. This was indeed a meaningful start to the evening. It is now my privilege to introduce the speakers for today's workshop, who bring with them immense knowledge and experience in their respective domains. Our first speaker is Dr. Andre Fernandez, head of the Department of Forensic Medicine. Dr. Fernandez brings to this platform a wealth of experience spanning over 2 decades in the critical area of forensic medicine. He holds his medical degree, the MBBS, as well as his specialized MD in forensic medicine and toxicology, both earned from Goa Medical College. Currently, Dr. Fernandez holds the distinguished position of professor and head of the Department of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology at Goa Medical College, a role he has held since February 2020 and has contributed to the department for many years. Beyond his academic and institutional leadership, Dr. Fernandez is actively involved in shaping medico-legal practice and policy. Sir will enlighten us today on the types of narcotics and methodologies used in their detection, a topic of utmost relevance in both legal and investigative context. I welcome you, sir.
Good evening. At the outset, I would like to thank the Goa State Legal Services Authority Chairperson, Honorable Judge Valmiki Menezes, and all the members of the Service Authority, Legal Services Authority of the state, and the Member Secretary, Honorable Judge Shabnam Sheikh, for extending this invitation for me to giving me the opportunity to talk on narcotics, the present scenario in the state of Goa. As you all know, the percentage of somniferous poisons is just about 10 to 15%. Basically, they belong to the basic classification of poisons in toxicology are big, large groups consisting of corrosives, irritants, which are further subdivided into irritant organic poisons and irritant inorganic poisons, and miscellaneous. The next large group is neurotics. Now, the main one, what applies to the law, which is mainly people are fall in conflict with law, is neurotoxic poisons. The next large group is asphyxiants, cardiac poisons, and miscellaneous. Now, today we are going to concentrate mainly on the neurotoxic poisons, wherein though they constitute just about 10 to 12% of the large group of toxicology, the basic issue at the outset is how to deal with it. First is diagnosis, and then detection, and then the legal luminaries will decide about the quantum of punishment, whether the person is to be convicted or not. So the neurotoxic poisons consist of, as you can see, somniferous poisons, narcotics, which is a big, large group, wherein are characterized by sleep. Then the inebriants, which constitutes mainly alcohol, for which Goa is quite famous, wherein stage 3 and 4 and 5 cause the biggest issues, wherein cases of assault are very common. Then deliriants, stimulants, and the other groups, which is very important, are hallucinogens. A point on hallucinogens is that acutely they might not be toxic. No person might die of hallucinogenic drug use. The issue is long-term use. The long-term use causes lot of psychological damage. When the psychological damage sets in, it's too late for people to do anything. So they fall, if their children, basically starts with glue sniffing, petrol solvents, it starts that way at a small scale, and then it goes on to the bigger drugs. Once that sets in, there's brain damage, wherein the person gets in conflict with law, becomes a violent criminal, assaults will increase, murders will increase. So basically is a threat to society. So if you see any person having, because to detect it is very difficult. They, after taking the glue, sniffing glue or the solvent, they'll get the initial high. After getting the high, what we call it the rush, they'll feel nice and elated, because obviously all the hormones which deal with a good threshold, wherein the person feels good factor, which are serotonin and dopamine, accumulate in the brain. So everybody feels nice. Now to keep that thing going, after about 3-4 hours, you have to take another dose. Then you have to take another dose after another 3-4-6 hours. Because once the level starts dropping, that person doesn't want to lose track of the high what he has got. Ultimately, he'll commit petty theft, assault, just to keep his habit running. So if a person, that's why I always tell, the nucleus of the problem is the family. If the family is disjointed, the parents don't know what their children are doing, some track has to be there. Children going out late, coming late home, as long as they have got some work or something is okay. But person who are students and all going out late and coming late, parents have to keep a check. It's a small thing initially, but you have to nip it in the bud. Then it becomes chronic where there's no solution for anyone. Now, the basic brief introduction to the NDPS Act was started in 1985, basically to control the manufacture, possession, sale, purchase, and transport and consumption of such substances. And it is controlled by the Narcotics Control Bureau. We do have visits from members of the Narcotics Control Bureau as to the number of cases we do. They just come for a check once in a year or twice a year, depending, because as you know, Goa is a very good place to come to relax. So mixing official with relaxation also, the benefit. Now, the major categories under NDPS Act are narcotic drugs, psychotropic substances, and controlled substances. Now, the basic issue is controlled substances, wherein the first two, narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances, are controlled by the government. But most of the time, the controlled substances, wherein basically chemicals which are used for the manufacture of the final product, they leak out into the open market, giving rise to a huge increase in production of illicit or illegally produced narcotic substances, which so far the state has failed to control this. All other substances which are supposed to be controlled, like acetic anhydride, the noradrenaline, ephedrine, everything, are freely available, because there's no check on the pharmaceutical companies which produce these. So there is a lot of demand and lot of labs, illegal labs, which are prevalent in Goa, which go unnoticed because they are in the flats and in the houses. Now the term narcotic comes from the Greek word narkotikos, means after the initial rush and a high or a crush, what we call it, you get what is called as the phase of depletion of serotonin and dopamine. So the person becomes lethargic, sluggish, just sleeps and sleeps. Narcotic drugs are substances which give relief from pain. Basically, they were made for relief from pain, because the oldest one was opium. Now, the opiates which were made that time were used for pain relief, because they relieve pain. But what happens? These are drugs which sometimes are not socially acceptable, because the older ones are gone. Now we have got a category called as non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents, which are prescribed by the Indian Pharmacopoeia, which are much more safer and have got a shorter half-life, which can be controlled. Now, as per this act, narcotic drugs refers to the coca leaf, cannabis, which is hemp, Indian hemp. India is a big producer of Indian hemp, because the fiber of this plant is used for making mats, dough mats, lot of things. Opium, poppy straw, and all the manufactured drugs which are available at the moment. Now, the first and the most famous is poppy. The actual name is Papaver somniferum. Papaver in Greek means poppy. Now, we get you see the poppy flower, once the petals fall off, after fertilization, the female part of the capsule of the flower enlarges. Once it enlarges, when still green, you get what is called as finger prods, which they are put on the poppy and scratched in the morning. And by evening, the white exudate, which is exuded, is collected by way of metal foil from down upwards, which is a brown color sap, which is oxidized on exposure to air. This is what is called as crude opium. Now, to get a kilo of heroin from it by way of using acetic anhydride, you will require at least 10 kilos of crude opium. So it is nothing but refining of product which has got more value. Crude opium will not fetch you that much of returns for a farmer. Most of the time, to break even in agriculture, many farmers illegally inside the sugarcane field do grow poppy in North India, because that is the only way they can balance out the books. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, sugarcane price of sugar falls, they're at a loss. So that is made up by growing poppy, by growing opium, which is sold in the black market. Certain places are given licenses by the government, wherein they have to sell it only to the Indore pharmaceutical company, which is government run, and they are legally bound to produce opium for the health, wherein the opium is controlled. The ampule sale is controlled, wherein the doctor gives a prescription. You have to go respectively to the only to that person and collect it. Now, opium extends right across our neighborhood, right from the Golden Crescent till the Golden Triangle on both sides of India. Now, the growth and extraction, as I already mentioned to you all, raw opium as such is a major narcotic substance. And the source, because opium is required for morphine, codeine, and thebaine. Codeine and thebaine are drugs, derivatives from opium, which without it, we would have been coughing to the end of the world. If anybody gets dry cough or any productive cough, has to be controlled by way of these two alkaloids. So we cannot do without them. So it's controlled, but for purpose of producing cough syrups. Now morphine is used for as a painkiller. But many a times the morphine does get leaked out into the open market, and it is because as long as acetic anhydride, that's what I was telling you all, NDPS Act is one of the most important foundation for controlling of acetic anhydride, which is a chemical used for converting opium to heroin. Now you control that from leaking out into the open market, you can control the sale of production of morphine and heroin. Now opiates, as you all know, are natural derivatives, semi-synthetic and synthetic. Of these, morphine is a powerful pain reliever. Codeine is used for pain and to suppress coughs. Semi-synthetic are created in the lab from natural opiates, like heroin, which is synthesized from morphine, oxycodone and hydrocodone, which are common prescription pain relief drugs. Synthetic opiates are created in the lab. Now, you don't require a big lab for this. A 3-bedroom flat is more than sufficient to set up a production unit. So we have got what is called as fentanyl, wherein 1 ml is enough to tranquilize an elephant. So imagine the fate of a person if he takes just a microgram of it. and methadone. It is used to treat opioid addiction. Now, this is cocaine, which is derived from the plant Erythroxylon coca. It exists as cocaine hydrochloride, which is a white powder, grossly adulterated drug. Because it is only the rich people, moneyed people can afford it. Because one line costs till January this year, one line of cocaine cost 10,000 rupees. To get a minimum high, reasonable high, it requires 3 lines. So every time 30,000 in the morning, 30,000 in the afternoon, 30,000 in the evening at 8 o'clock. So you require 90,000 per day, which many people will not afford. So it's only the rich people who will use it. The problem here is a person who is a drug peddler, if he gets a quantity, X quantity of cocaine, obviously he's not doing social service. He wants to profit from it, make a good profit out of it. So what he uses is called as cutting. Cutting is nothing but dilution of the original powder by adding talc, quinine, benzodiazepines into it. Because if you dilute, just put sugar or talc and all, the efficacy of it will go down. Then the person will not go to the addict who is there, will not go again to him to buy. He'll say your mal is useless. So to keep that effect, he'll put quinine, he'll put all benzodiazepines. But in the end, to get it high, the person will take the so-called cocaine, what is what, but he'll die instantly because of the quinine. That is how we came to know about this. Was in before COVID in 2010, 11. We were getting a flurry of cases from the north, all heart contracted in systole. Contraction of systole is nothing but got suspicious. First 2 cases we didn't think much, but after that time we used to send our FSL reports, chemical analysis report to Hyderabad, CFSL Hyderabad, because Verna was still not started. The first clue came for us, and it came positive for quinine. Now, who on earth is going to sell quinine here? I can understand you getting quinine in Eastern Africa, which is available in plenty, is okay. But it is the blacks who were bringing from there, they were marketing it, bringing it here, and because it was not available locally. So no Goan or an Indian would have used it for dilution. Cocaine is not produced here. It's a derivative which comes from Central America, South America to West Africa. From West Africa, from Nigeria, which is the landing point, from Nigeria, it comes to Dubai, to the Middle East. And from there, it comes to India. So that is how we came to know that the Africans are using this ploy to profit from the situation. And we got about 8, 9 deaths, and all came positive. So it is, now those cases were finalized by way of quinine, but you want to file a case, if you, by chance we get the person who peddled the drug, catch the drug trafficker and arrest him and all, quinine per se is not, it's a pharmacological substance given for purpose of malaria. So he's not falling off the act or any poison act, nothing. So to get conviction, because what happens, I'll come to it later, I won't sidetrack. So later date, when we come to the Randox machine, I'll tell you all that. Now we have got free base, crack. It is a colorless, odorless crystal. When it's heated, for the purpose of snorting or sniffing on the aluminum foil, it produces the crackling sound. So it's a pure form of cocaine wherein it cracks, crackling sound it creates, and the fumes are inhaled. So as you know, the routes are chewing, smoking, snorting, IV injection, and ingestion. Chewing is mostly in South America because they produce it. They just pluck the leaves, wash them, and put them in the mouth. And how we eat pan patti, like that, you keep on chewing. Acute poisoning is characterized by anxiety, agitation, tremors, hypothermia, tachycardia, hypertension, convulsions, and formication, what we call it as a Magnum sign. Mydriasis and pulmonary edema. This is as the intensity increases, concentration of in the blood plasma level increases, the severity will increase. Pulmonary edema, if a person goes into pulmonary edema, obviously he will die, which will produce rhabdomyolysis, that is the dissolving of the smooth muscles, skeletal muscles. Interstitial ischemia will come because of the rhabdomyolysis giving rise to thrombi, causing blockages in the artery in the mesentery. So blood supply to the intestinal wall is blocked, giving rise to gangrene of the bowel, which is also a fatal condition. A myocardial infarction and intracranial hemorrhage, which is occasionally present, not commonly seen here. Now we come to cannabis. Cannabis is one which is of India. It is there in India so many years. Indian hemp. Now the preparations are very interesting. Bhang, as per NTPS Act is not under that. So you can have, these are bhang balls, they are made of ash and they are diluted into milk and used for at the time of, which is the festival for Holi. So prevalently available during Holi time and widely used by sadhus to obtain nirvana. So in case if you tend to go to the upper reaches of the Himalaya, it is prevalently available there because mostly it's grown in Kinnaur district of Himachal and upper reaches of Almora district of Uttarakhand. There's no rule of law. The panchayat is supreme. Whatever panchayat decides, they sit at the marketplace and dispense justice. That is final. Then ganja, which is a resin extract of the flowering tops. Then charas, wherein whole plant exudate is crushed and the resinous exudate is consumed. Majoon is used for in a sweet edible form. And marijuana are dried resinous bracts of the female flower. Now, active principles are cannabidiol, and THC. THC is the most potent, tetrahydrocannabinol. All the effect of daze and stupor is because of THC. The mechanism of action is C1 brain neurons are affected by and C2 immune cells, which were present in the spleen, tonsils, are affected. Tetrahydrocannabinol is metabolized to 11-hydroxy-THCA, which is active form, and excreted in the urine and feces. This will affect the whole body, right from the brain to the liver to the kidney, all the organs. Now we come to controlled substances. I'll go through it briefly. Chemicals used in the manufacture of narcotic or psychotropic drugs, strictly monitored to prevent diversion into illegal production, like as I told you, acetic anhydride, ephedrine, and pseudoephedrine. Now we come to the psychotropic substances. As per the UN Convention, till 1970s, there was nothing heard about this. Slowly, the world started changing over to from the old traditional narcotics to the newer one. The newer ones are these amphetamines, barbiturates, benzodiazepine, LSD, MDMA, and methamphetamine. So they had to be brought on record. Till that time, nothing could be detected. Always to produce a card or the graph wherein the peak has to be compared with the control. When we run the gas chromatography, that has to be, now we have got the new, this thing, Rendox, wherein we just load the blood sample on the tile after centrifuging. Before, we had the GCMS, Gauss mass spectrometry. That the flame, what is to run, when we put the sample, is to produce a peak. That peak had to be compared with the control. Now, if we don't have the control, because FSL Goa got that control profiler from Siemens after many years, till that time, a lot of cases were in limbo in the district court as well as in the high court because of that. Because you have to compare with it. Now, the issue is when the drug is new, it's not available in the market for the government to get or the company to get that sample to produce the control peak. If the control peak is not there on the graph, on the profiler to compare, that drug will go undetected. So detection becomes very difficult with the newer drugs, which are the newer designer drugs, which are there. You cannot detect them because it's produced in the lab here, but the lab is not giving a sample to the original company who has produced the profiler, Siemens in Germany, that this is the thing we are producing and this is the control. He doesn't want it to be detected. He wants his gravy train to run for a long period of time. Now, other one is LSD, which is lysergic acid diethylamide. It is a alkaloid derived from Calvisis purpurea, which is the rye grains are infected with the fungus, ergot fungus. It is a potent serotonin 5-HT2A receptor agonist. Dose is active in micrograms, 20 to 200 micrograms. It doesn't require a big amount. So the amount it is sold, if you go, you'll get, you won't believe, I'd gone to Baga with my friends and there was one Gado there. He was selling revenue stamps. I said, revenue stamps? Gada here, we don't get revenue stamps in the post office at Bamuli to put for a pay bill. So I told him, give me one revenue stamp, 100 rupees. I said, what is going on here? 100 rupees for one revenue stamp? Kidhar chalta re? I asked him, luto hi lela. ना ते स्पेशल म्हणून पावला स्पेशल किती स्पेशल तें जिबले घालपाचें आनी बरो फ्लाय जातलो तो म्हणून पावला then I immediately came to know what the issue was. So the thing is like that. So that much of dose of one revenue stamp is sufficient to send you flying. So taken orally on blotter paper, sugar cube or tablets, you get, there were small, once we had got in the stomach, small jelly beans. I don't know whether you all have seen those jelly beans, what you get in the States, gummies, small gummies you get, like small teddy bears, like that. But these are plain transparent squares. This fellow had about 10 or 15 of them in the stomach. We didn't know what it was. Really, to tell you, we were foxed because first time we saw them. LSD and all, we saw that it was only on the stamp, on other stickers and all you get. But telling you, it came positive for LSD. Huge amount, very high. I don't remember the value, the report, but it was huge amount, which with that time, see, the thing before FSL Verna came, we had a lot of issues, lot of problems. Goa police also had a lot of problems, which with the, I don't know whose blessings I should say, FSL Verna has come, has solved a lot of problems, logistic problems as well as other problems. Because what used to happen, wherever the testing was free, the Goa police used to sign a memorandum of understanding with them. As long as CFSL Hyderabad, Ramnathpur, Ramantapur was giving free testing, we continued there. When they started charging for 1,000 per jar, they had to take a check, draw a check to be paid there. Then they shifted to Pune. Pune was free that time. Then from Pune, we went to Kalina. Then once they, because we keep, our cases are many, 1,500 on the average per year. From Pune, then we went to Ratnagiri, to Mangalore, to even to Chennai and to Cochin. So even to Mangalore, we have sent samples. Sushant will tell you the history. So now everything is nice and orderly. Everything is promptly done because my dictum is very simple. Once, why the reason, here I have to bring on the record Dr. Silvan Dai Sapeko, his foresight in buying the Rendox machine in 2014. Cost 1.5 crore that time. Now with the machine being standardized, now we gave that old machine back, bought a new one because the older one had a lot of variables. We had to prepare the sample, prepare the tile. So there were a lot of errors because, at every step, the defense counsels would have caught us, questioned on it. So we just kept it for screening. Only purpose was to give a direction to the FSL as to what is the substance we have got here positive. So it run directly for that, see on GCMS or liquid chromatography, confirm the same and see for the concentration. Now what happened? The new one is we just have to put the blood sample after centrifugation, sample 1 drop we have to put. And we have to put it in the machine. Machine does everything. There's no human involvement, no human error, nothing. After the 20 minutes, we get the report. The report is also typed wherein we cannot tamper with it, nothing. Produced by the machine, everything. So the new machine which is there, I wish the same machine is procured by FSL Verna, which will make things much easier and faster. All the backlog which is there. Because see what happens, every drug has got a half-life. Now the half-life of succinylcholine is 30 minutes. Once the half-life is over, the chemical or the substance will break down, go below 50%. Now we are checking for the substance, we are not checking for the metabolites. What will happen? Whatever report is being run will come as negative. Ideally, the sample collected blood bile should be tested within 48 hours, ideally. But here the sample gets tested after weeks. The longest half-life substance is alcohol. That is 3 to 4 weeks. The rest, everything is before that. So, what if you get the thing right within 48 hours, what we do, postmortem is conducted, the very next day in the evening, afternoon the sample is postmortem done in the morning, by 2 o'clock we run the sample, the result is got by 3 o'clock. If it is postmortem done in afternoon, the next day we run the sample in the morning. Now this is MDMA. Now these have become very famous because they are very hard to detect. And the effect is tremendous. And very easy to spike a drink and very easy to take also orally. There's no this thing of injecting or anything, no headache of procuring a syringe or hiding the evidence. When you see any person with a tattoo for his forearm, then you have to be very wary. Though tattoos are not done for show or anything, they are done to hide the main lining. So a person is a injecting addict. So as you all know, it's a party drug, rave parties. The issue here is the foreigners are very smart. They know the side effects of this. But local people who are here do not know. You can have only MDMA or alcohol. You cannot have both. If you have both, then you need not, if you have both, you need not make a defense counsel for your case. Because having both, you will get what we call it as drunken molly. The other street name for amphetamine is molly or ecstasy. So you get a drunken molly syndrome, which is fatal. Because amphetamine potentiates the effect of alcohol. So you either get, your lungs will fill with water, you get severe pulmonary edema and cerebral edema. Cerebral edema is because combined effect of alcohol and amphetamine, and pulmonary edema is because of effect of potentiating effect of alcohol by MDMA. Now amphetamine, the biggest problem is amphetamine psychosis. Which is very prevalent. We just pay a visit to IPHB. The incidence of schizophrenia in Goa has gone up by roughly about 20 to 25%. Why? This is the fallout. Some might be having an organic psychosis, which is a family hereditary issue, which is genetically linked. But if you analyze, bulk of the cases will be because of misuse of amphetamine. See, initially it starts with a very small thing. Innocently, people take amphetamine to keep awake at night. If you want to complete a project, you take amphetamine because doctors are the biggest users. Because for duty purpose, to stay awake or to prepare for medical exam, to prepare for entrance exam, it starts in an innocent way initially. And then if your willpower is not very strong, you succumb to it. You become a regular user of it. Medical legal importance is a drug of abuse and performance enhancer. Chronic use gives rise to violent acts, as I told you, because of damaged neurons. Here what happens, the demyelination. Every nerve has got a myelin sheath. That myelin sheath is like the electrical wire. The copper wire is inside. The outside coating, which is there, the rubber coating, which is there, that is the myelin sheath. Now, there's a defect in the myelin sheath. The electric current will leak out to the adjacent nerves, causing epileptic fits, short circuits. So that has to be controlled immediately, not subsequently, wherein there's no return. Once it reaches the point of no return, the damage will be very severe. Now we come to methamphetamine, synthetic CNS stimulant, known as crystal meth. Clinical features are same as I told you, psychosis with hallucination and violent behavior on chronic use. Chronic use is the issue. That is where the people fall with the law. Because they become criminals, got a criminal behavior, assault people, violence will increase for trivial matter. Now we come to mephedrone. This is another drug which is difficult to detect. There's single meow and there's double meow meow. Single meow is 4-methyl-methcatinone. It's derived from cat edulis. It's imported illegally from Ethiopia. It is khat. Plant is like coca derivative only, but the leaves are, because it says to come from, is grown in Ethiopian highlands in plenty. So that is imported via the Arabian route, Oman side, from Oman, then by Arab Dhows it comes to Gujarat, Porbandar, and then it's given, spread everywhere. So this belongs to bath salts. Now, when you go to the pharmacy or somewhere to the shop, you find very funny people. We never used bath salts ever to have bath. Suddenly, bath salts have become the in thing. Why? It is for this reason. They're sold as bath salts. So ultimately, the byproduct in the blood will be amphetamine. It won't be this drug. Amphetamine is a natural drug which is taken. Now, roots are snorted, ingested, and injected. Accidental doses, that's from overdose or dehydration. Now, these are the street names. Now, narcotic detection methods they differ in speed and cost and accuracy. Now, speed, the ones which are fast will be very expensive. The ones which take long time, GCMS, they are very cheap. But the cheaper ones, the accuracy is very low. The ones which are expensive, the specificity and the sensitivity is very high. Now there are two types. Field, to be done in the field. If you get a person who is accused, suspected of having narcotics, you do the field test there itself, and the other one in the laboratory. So the field tests are nothing but calorimetry kit test kits, portable spectroscopy, and we have got special K9 unit dogs, which are available at the airports, international airports. Now the laboratory analysis is chiefly conducted of chromatography, gas chromatography, high performance liquid chromatography, mass spectrometry, and GCMS combining both. Combining chromatography with mass spectrometry. Biological sample testing is testing biological sample, urine, blood, hair, saliva. If you want to see the long-term usage, whether it's an addict for a long period, then hair has to be taken. But preferably, I would prefer blood. Blood is the most accurate, gives you whatever has happened in the last 48 hours. Urine, what happens is you get, not all, roughly about 30% to 40% detection will be there, but about 70% you won't detect if you take only the urine sample. Most of the time, the police, if they catch somebody, they tell you to pass urine. Many times they tell him to go inside, he'll put tap water and give. They don't know what is urine color, they don't know what is tap water color. Hair testing, oral fluid, saliva. Saliva can be used for immediate spot testing. Now, this is what I was talking about, which is very accurate. Biochip array technology has simplified our world, and if the forensic science lab gets their machine, then their work also will get simplified and accuracy will increase. Biochip array technology is a proprietary item from Rendox UK. It's a multi-stat. First, it was evidence investigator because we had to prepare the sample and then load it. Purpose sort of the machine was investigating. It is ELISA-based test. So if it is present, the luminescence, what is given by the tile, is detected by camera at a temperature of minus 50 degrees centigrade. Now that if there's luminescence is more, then the substance is absent. If the luminescence is in high quantity, everything of the given tile will be utilized. So you get what are called as discrete test regions. What happens in others, they are single test arrays. For one array, only one test you can conduct. Here you can, multi-analytes can be tested on, you put 19, 24, 34 analytes can be analyzed in the given sample. So it's faster and very accurate. So how biochip array technology work? Sample is applied to a biochip containing immobilized captured reagents. They're already preloaded. The antibody is already there. Now you are adding the antigen. If the antigen antibody reaction takes place, if it is present, the luminescence will go down, which is detected on the camera. The computer inside will analyze and give you the concentration, will give you the lower cutoff, and will give the upper cutoff. Now, for purpose of management of the patient in the casualty, if the thing is closer to a low cutoff, he will survive. If the person has got sample is above the higher cutoff, it's a fatal dose. Detection, as I told you, the camera will detect the luminescence produced from the tile when the camera is run. Detection by chemiluminescence imaging system. The result generated is a multiplexed profile in a single run. So in a single run, you can analyze 20, 21 analytes, different substances. Now, benefits of multiplexing with biochip. Multi-analyte results from a single sample. Reduces sample volume. Micro ml, microgram, you can tell the quantity. Reduces sample volume and conserves precious specimens. You can, even if the specimen is very little, you can use even that little and keep that for rerun later on, for reconfirmation if you want. If anybody raises an objection, I think we keep the sample. Saves time and cost versus multiple single analyte assay. Single analyte, the same sample has to be put to require a larger sample if you want to run all the types of single arrays. Consistent assay condition improve reproducibility and retrospective testing and easy panel expansion. Now, when you compare with other ELISA, is reliable but single analyte. Biochip more efficient for multiple analyte testing. Luminex and all, they are more complex. It requires specialized person. Here the technician is sufficient. He'll put the sample and the machine does the rest and you get the result. Biochip balances multiplexing efficiency with validated clinical use. Can be also used for clinical purpose. Can contact the doctor in the casualty and tell him as to what is the issue. Rendox biochip array technology offers a robust multiplex immunoassay platform, which enables efficient, reproducible, and cost-effective testing. Thank you. Questions later.
Thank you, sir, for the comprehensive and enlightening session. Our next speaker is Srimati Shraddha Malvankar, a dedicated and experienced scientific officer with a strong academic background in organic chemistry, holding a master's degree in the subject. She brings over 12 years of rich and diverse experience in the scientific domain, including 2 years in research and development in Syngenta Biosciences and another 2 years in quality control within the pharmaceutical sector. For the past 8.5 years, she has been serving at the Forensic Science Laboratory in Goa, working extensively in the toxicology and narcotics division. In her role as a scientific assistant, she has contributed to over 800 toxicology cases and more than 150 narcotic cases. Today, Madam will take us through the scientific analysis of narcotics, a crucial area where science meets law. Madam, we welcome you to the days.
Good evening, honorable judges and the dignitaries present here. Myself, Shraddha Malvankar, scientific officer, working as scientific officer at Directorate of Forensic Science Laboratory. So I will be speaking today on role of forensic science in NDPS cases. So this first speaker, Dr. Andre, has already briefed about what are the narcotic drugs, the psychotropic substance. I just wanted to mention here about the new NPS. So I've recently attended a workshop in Mumbai organized by UNODC, wherein they have mentioned about the new psychotropic substance worldwide which are circulating. So it was a very good experience. Like we had got to know lot many things what is happening around the world in the narcotic sector. Regarding clandestine laboratories, it's a laboratory where all the precursors and the chemicals they I mean say what like they use it in making of the illegal substances. Right now presently we have started in 2019 in Verna the narcotic division, but till date we haven't have got any seized material from any clandestine laboratory in Goa. But clandestine laboratories do operate in the other states, like in and around Goa. So this is the classification. So the NDPS, they'll be classified into 4 major categories: the depressants, stimulants, hallucinogen, sedatives, and hypnotics. In depressants, these are the psychotropic substance. So it depresses its effects on the CNS. So they produce a physical dependency. So examples are diazepams, opioids, cannabis. The stimulants, even they affect the CNS, but when in consumed, they create a feeling of excitement. So the drugs includes here are cocaine, methamphetamine. While hallucinogens, they too affect CNS, but the class create a sensory illusion and alertness. So here examples are heroin, LSD, ketamine. And lastly, the sedatives and the hypnotics. So sedatives are the one which produces, is the one which reduces the nervous tension and promotes relaxation without producing sleeps. But hypnotics are the one which produces the sleep. So the examples here are the benzodiazepam, the zolpidem, alprazolam, the same class. So this is a trend of narcotic substance in Goa. So this is learned, review was done. So the routes to which the narcotic which are brought into state of Goa are like cocaine is internationally smuggled. However, like into the Goa and brought to Delhi and Bangalore. Methamphetamine will be from Kerala and Bangalore. Ecstasy, MDMA, Kerala, Maharashtra, Delhi, and LSD is from Kerala. It's all the neighboring states and the cities. So the common narcotic seizure drugs, like the common which are common in Goa are, so the natural and the cannabis will be the ganja. So it includes, so it's flowering and the fruiting tops which makes ganja. Hydroponics. So these are the type of ganja which is grown in the water-based nutrient. So ganja plant is produced like it's grown in the soil, but hydroponic wheats, the hydroponic ganja, they grow it in a nutrient water-based nutrient. So that doesn't require a very good land and all. In a balcony, if you put a good nutrient source water, you can grow ganja into that. So those are called as hydroponics. Charas, so it's a resin of that ganja. The synthetic and the designer drugs. So cocaine, it's a product of coca plant. MDMA, it is known as a rave party multi-festival drug. Music festival drug. LSD, it's hallucinogen, but it is sold as blotters. Mephedrone, it's a synthetic drug which produces the same effect as MDMA. Ketamine, hallucinogen drug. Methamphetamine, powerful, highly addictive substance, also known as meth. DMT. DMT is dimethyltryptamine, so it is known as a spiritual drug. And GHB, so it's a day trap drug, often found at the parties. Opium and opioid-based drugs. So heroin, it's additive drugs. It's synthesized from opium. Opium is the extract from the poppy plant, and codeine and morphine, it's opioid-based drug. And lastly, the prescription drugs, which includes the benzodiazepam barbiturates, which are sedatives, and tramadol, a pain medication with a high potential for abuse. So these are the two pictures. It's a clandestine laboratory just put on for a view. So clandestine means hidden or secret. So this is a facility wherein the controlled substances or illicit substances are produced. So these labs can be a small household, maybe even a kitchen top is sufficient enough to synthesize illegal drugs. So the process here, what the clandestine laboratories do is extraction, synthesis, and tableting. So extraction in a sense, basically from opium, from the, extraction of morphine from opium. Synthesis is the raw material combined and reacted to create a finished product. It's methamphetamine. Examples are methamphetamine, MDMA. And tableting, I can say, MDMA, it is tableted into the pills form or tablets form for consumption. Okay, so the role of forensic science laboratories. So forensic science serves as a bridge between the law enforcement and the judicial system. They play a critical role in drug cases, from analyzing the seized drug to ensure we give a proper identification to the suspected drug. So the types of samples received at FSL are ganja, hydroponic ganja, charas, hashish oil, ganja plant, DMT, magic mushrooms. So the magic mushrooms include the psilocybin and psilocybin drugs. So other drugs like LSD, mostly in the form of liquid, blotch, and sugar cubes. Amphetamine, methamphetamine crystals, MDMA crystals, ecstasy, mephedrone, heroin, opium, ketamine. Ketamine can be in powder, liquid form. Even controls like precursors also sometimes we get for in the seized ones. So these are the photographs of the samples which we had received at FSL. So this LSD blots. This was the cocaine sample. This is the LSD sugar cubes, ganja, hashish oil, and this the ecstasy tablets in various forms and colors. It's a charas. Okay, so the attachment. During the attachment, the first part was the IO does is at the scene of crime. They use the drug detection kit. It's only we say it's a spot test kit. So they can presumably identify substance that could be substance of abuse. So each of this kit has one or more chemicals. So when they insert the suspected material into that and break the ampule and the reagent gets in contact with the substance, they produce a particular color. So that gives a hint for the maybe the presence of a particular drug. So the spot kits, they are very rapid. After the seizure, after the raid, the sample which is seized is properly packed and sealed. So thereafter, in presence of JMFC, the inventory proceedings are done. And during the inventory proceedings, so it should be noted that the mixing of the content should be done properly to ensure that each and every, like whatever mixture is there, gets properly collected. 2 types of samples are drawn. It's a original and a duplicate. The same quantity should be drawn for the original as well as the duplicate sample. The quantity to be drawn for sample analysis are NDPS should be 5 grams and the opium ganja or the charis hashish will be 24 grams. So this is the spot kit what the IOs use for during the scene of crime. So this is like a pouch. So this is the, it's a black cut. So you just open up the cover, insert your material, and in the inside there is an ampule. The ampule has a reagent. So you have to just break it and agitate. The reagent gets in contact with the sample and it produces a color. So this is a spot test kit specially for cocaine. Suppose we have many other like even like suspected like methamphetamine have a particular type of this. Then LSD has a very different kit. Okay, so what we do at FSL? So the identity of the drug is to be established at least with 2 independent analytical parameters. So a TLC and any instrument can be separate 2 parameters for giving us a result. So during case opening, so in keeping a good laboratory practice, a positive identification should be based. So already mentioned. So you should have at least 2 positive results to give a proper confirmatory result. So whenever a case is being taken like brought to the FSL for receipt, first what we thoroughly check the exhibit details, the seals are verified with the papers forwarded, and then the case is accepted. And during the case opening, what we do, we thoroughly again check all the details, even the envelope. So first and the foremost thing, before opening up the parcel, we first weigh the parcel. First seal the seals, weigh the parcel, and then open the parcel. After opening the envelope, I mean the parcel, suppose there is an auto press polythene bag or some other thing. So we just note it down. We again take the weight of that. Suppose it's auto press polythene bag. Sometimes if it is crystals, it happens to be that the crystals sometimes leak outside. So weighing of the polythene bag, it's very important. Suppose it's a good powder material. What we do is first then empty all the contents which is there in the auto press polythene bag and again weigh it. So the analysis route which we followed are the physical parameters. So physical parameters includes, we see the color, appearance. If suppose they are tablets, ecstasy tablets, we note the color. Each and every tablet is weighed. Even the LSD blot, if suppose it's more than 10, 15, 20, each and every blot is weighed. Color test, spot test. So every drug has a specific reagent test. So we perform that. Then is the thin layer chromatography. So in thin layer chromatography, what we do is, if it's suppose it's a powder, we try to make it in a mixture form, dissolve that. So TLC is a chromatographic technique. Firstly, we spot a control sample and side to that we put our sample and we run it. And then we spray a chemical reagent. If suppose the reagent picks up the colors similar to that of the control, we say it's one and the same compound. So here our laboratory has, we have purchased the control substances from LCG Germany with the help of NCB Gwalior, who is the authority to, gives us a permit. Okay, in instrumentations, we have the all high-end instruments. The GCMS has a library. It's a NIST and the Ville library. We have GC, FTIR, even FTIR. We have the Georgia State Crime Lab and Drug And we have a know-it-all software which has all the IR spectra already there. And we have UV spectrophotometer. So this is the spot test, like what we do. So this is a spot tile wherein we do the color test. So here it was run with a blank. So we had put here a sample of methamphetamine and the reagent was added. So it gave us the orange to brown color. The same reagent with MDMA gives a deep blue color. And this was the cocaine sample. So with the Scott reagent, we got this color. So this is how we do the color tests. So this is what I'm talking about, the TLC. So this is the TLC chamber. Then this is the TLC plate. So what we do is the samples, we try to dissolve it and we spot with the help of syringe. And then first the control and then our samples. Then it is put it into the developing chamber with the mobile phase. So what it does is the mobile phase carries around all the components and there is separation occurring. So after the TLC is run to a minimum height, we take it down and we view it in the UV chamber. So UV chamber, there is it's a light source. If suppose a particular drug is there, it will glow in the UV light just to see the presence of any spots. So the same plate, so this was sprayed with a particular reagent. So when a reagent, before spraying the reagent, the plate is just white. We don't know anything. So then when the spraying reagent sprayed, the drugs take up that particular color, the reagent color, and gives us it gives us the orange color. So these are the various control samples we had spotted, and this is how the TLC plate looks like after spraying a reagent. So these are the instruments that we have. This first is UV spectrophotometer. This is FTIR. This is a Raman spectrometer, handheld, and this is GCMS. So this is what GCMS looks like. So it has two parts, the GC part and the MS part. So it has an injector wherein there is a needle, and here is a sample compartment tray. So first we dissolve our powder sample in this, and with the control of computer, with the help of computer, we take the control of the hardware. Then the needle, it injects the sample inside, and inside there is a column on which the separation occurs. And after that, the end part goes to the MS part. In MS, there is an ionization source wherein the eluent, the molecules which get emitted out, they are bombarded with a charge and fragmentation occurs of the molecule, and it is then detected by the detector. And it's all recorded on the PC, like we have the software. Suppose the run is for 30 minutes. For the 30 minutes, one sample will be run. And in 30 minutes, if you get 2 to 3 peaks, that will be it will be visualized on the PC. So this is how a GCMS report looks like. So first, here the date and the time on which the analysis was performed, the name of the sample, and the method which we used. And this is the chromatogram. So for the 30 minutes run, this was one of the peak, like it detected. So one peak, and then we have library. We just mark the peak and we do a search. So what the machine does is it searches in the library and give us the name of the drug. So actually what happens here is, so this is the mass fragmentation pattern of the molecule which is there here. So this mass fragmentation pattern was matching with a mass fragmentation pattern saved in the library as diazepam. So it gave the name as diazepam. Suppose it's delta 9. So delta 9 fragmentation pattern. So it will match with if it matches with the delta 9 fragmentation pattern in the library, it will give the name as delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol. So cannabis. So the molecular weight is 314. So this is how this is the delta 9 molecular structure. So this is marijuana. It will be the ganja leaves with fruiting and flowering drops, hashish oil charas, hydroponic weeds dry ganja. This is what we received at FSL. So the major cannabinoids are the cannabinol, cannabidiol, and THC, delta 9 THC. So identifying, it's mainly the presence of only one cannabinoid, that is delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol. So extraction is simple. If it is ganja, we try to crush it in mortar and pestle, and we extract that in methanol. And the same extract is used for doing the test. So the color test includes our fast blue bee, Lecunes levine test, para amino test. The first two tests give the same result for charas, hashish, ganja, but only para amino phenol test is the only one test which distinguish the ganja, hashish, and charas. Then the ganja, they have a particular, charas ganja have a peculiar microscopic feature. So it's one of the best this to distinguish between the ganja hair and the charas hair. So it's all done in microscope. And on GC, if you run this, we get the delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol. So this is why it is called as delta 9. So there are even delta 8 is there, but only delta 9 is the main this. So if this double bond, the main thing is double bond. If the double bond is here, it will be delta 8. If this is here, it's delta 9. So this is how the numbering takes place, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why it's called delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol. In hallucinogens, it is LSD known as lysergide. They come in gelatin capsule or the sugar cubes. So the extractions of the blots, we do it same way in methanol. Plot the TLC with the reference as LSD. UV, it also gives a fluorescence in UV, and GCMS, it gives D-lysergide as a result. For methamphetamine, we get pills, tablets, and even crystal form. Marcus test is a test which we performed, and the TLC, and in GC it is MDMA. Ketamine, it comes in liquid and powder form. Extraction, same way in any solvent. We have particular test called as the Zimmermann test. So initially from pink, it changes to purple color. So the same test, mephedrone gives a different color. Cocaine, already explained the spot test. It gives a blue color when tested with the Scott reagent. So it comes in, it's a odorless white crystalline powder. Cocaine extracted from coca paste. Even synthesis also we can do of cocaine, but the raw material should be of ignonine. Opioids, there are two, it's natural and the synthetic. Opium is a dry latex. The first speakers already mentioned how they get the opium, this natural opium and all. So these are the three tests what we do. Opioids, here it's heroin. So heroin is the synthetic form. These are the tests what we perform. Amphetamines, it includes amphetamine and methamphetamine. The same reagent gives it gives the same color, orange to brown, but on the TLC we'll come to know whether it's methamphetamine or amphetamine. So the structure is same, it's amphetamine. When one hydrogen is replaced by methyl, we say it's methamphetamine. This 1-2 case studies I will discuss. So this case study is that we had got the sample under seizure as MDMA. So we performed. So the hint was it MDMA. We did the traditional spot test kit for MDMA, but it didn't show us the result of MDMA. So what we did is, whatever controls we had, we spotted on the TLC, and then we came to know that it was not matching with any of the standards which we had. So then we run it in the GCMS, and on the GCMS, it detected as this precursors. So 1,3,4-methylene dioxymethoxydiamine phenol 1,2-propanedione. So this was the precursor which we could get from the GCMS because it's already there in the library. So this is what. So this was the sample under analysis, and this were all the controls we had, which was not matching with any of the control we had at the laboratory. A case 2, wherein the seizure was for methamphetamine. So we did the test for methamphetamine, but it was not matching. Again, same thing, we plotted the TLC, and then we got a hint that it was matching, the RF was matching with the mephedrone which we had. And on the GCMS, it was confirmed that it was mephedrone. So it had come to the lab under seizure as MDMA, but methamphetamine, but our result went as mephedrone. So other case studies, some gummies were received wherein we detected delta-9 THC, a herbal powder wherein cannabidiol and cannabinol were detected. Ecstasy tablets were there. So it was nearly 20 tablets, and that we could detect. We detected tapentadol in 1 tablet, and 19 tablets were of MDMA. A suspected liquid LSD was sent to the lab, but we detected it as MDMA. A suspected case also of MDMA was sent to the lab, but wherein our result went as ammonium sulfate. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful presentation. We now open the floor for an interactive session. We have with us Mr. Shailendra Bobe, Public Prosecutor at the High Court of Bombay at Goa, who will moderate this session. I now invite Mr. Shailendra Bobe, our speakers, Dr. Andre Fernandez and Ms. Shraddha Malvankar, to the dais. We invite the audience to present here and the audience present here and those attending virtually to share their questions and thought. Please feel free to engage with our speakers.
Hello. You have a mic for the audience? For the audience. So having heard the presentations which were detailed, Dr. Fernandez and Mati Malvankar, I would expect people to ask some questions because the necessity of a moderator will only arise if people ask questions. First, I would expect at least Mr. Podekar to start with some of the most uncomfortable ones.
This is for any of the speakers can answer this. In context of cases, when you receive the sample, even today, the reports takes 8 months, 1 year. We file this petition to have this laboratory so that we can get the reports faster. The NDPS rules recently has been amended in 22, and it is said in Rule 3 or Rule 4 that when the police sends the samples for testing, within 15 days, the chemical analyst has to send a report back. So why the delays are caused? Because this delays which is caused is really affecting the entire criminal justice system for testing.
Unfortunately, it's the reality. So you have to live with it till the time the FSL gets his Rendox machine. Now we already have a Rendox machine, So we send the report the very next day to the IO. So IO gets the report immediately. And if the autopsy is done today, tomorrow the report by afternoon is dispatched. They have to come and collect the same. You just phone and tell them that the report is ready. So we are giving directly. If it is negative, I give directly. If it is positive, also I give. It is the onus is upon the IO whether he wants to send it to FSL or not. Because that thing is very clear. There's no hanky-panky or anything, nothing. Understood? If it is there, it is there. If it's not there, not there. Finished. That's it.
The question was specially with respect to examination of narcotic drugs to her.
So everything, whole narcotic profile only we are running. The
Okay.
whole narcotic profile we are running. Now the cases which are with the FSL, now they have to clear that backlog and take up the new cases. Now what autopsies we are doing, now you're of living cases, where spot cases and all, where sample is collected from the house or from the place, from the discotheque or the rave party place, that will go to them. Now, once they get the Randox machine, I assure you, they'll give it within 20 minutes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
One more question on this, doctor, then, this machine itself. This is with the bad technology.
Yes.
you're talking about. So if this is used, bad technology is used, a sample is inserted in a machine and eventually the machine will give the results. So what will be the role of expert?
Role of expert is only to get the, what do you say, to explain as to the upper cutoff and the lower cutoff. That's all.
That
So
will-
he will have, now see, if the report is generated, now the other day we had a case from pediatrics. The child had eaten croton tiglium seeds. So we got a report. They were suspecting some narcotic this thing because the neighbor, the allegation from the parents was the neighbor has given something to, some drug to kill my son. Now their thing was what? That they are dealing with drugs and all. They are selling drugs and all. So that is the complaint. Now, finally, the thing is when they did a stomach wash, the kid had eaten the what do you call that? Those croton seeds are there, no? Which I don't know what they call it in Konkani. So those were availed on stomach wash. On stomach wash. So then the consultant from pediatrics contacted me. I told this is nothing. We just give symptomatic treatment. And we ran the drug profile of all the narcotics because of the allegation made by the child's family. Came all negative.
I think now a question from some of the prosecutors who are present. Sorry.
This is to Mr. Raju. So we are always facing this problem because whenever there is a report delay in getting the report, Raju is the first one to file application that liberty of the accused is curtailed. So this is always we have to face this because the reports come late, sir. Then secondly, sir, what happens is that when it is argument before charge and the report doesn't come and nor a field testing is done. So accused is, we can't wait for so long. Then court says, you either get it or no. Otherwise, we are discharging the accused. And this is what we face in the courts. Thank you.
I think that question might be better addressed somewhere else. But if somebody else has a technical question or on the chemical side of it.
This is to Dr. Fernandez. Now, with the use of the Randox machine that you said, now one problem we on the defense side face, and it's something Mr. Paulekar deals with as well, is if you have like something like MDMA you're dealing with the postage stamp or something which has a substrate, and you have the substance which is mixed into it or it is soaked into it. Will it be at some point possible, instead of just analyzing the concentration of it, to give separately the weight of the substrate and the substance? Because currently the legal difficulty is that you have to take the weight of both substrate and substance, which is included in that commercial quantity. And this plays a very big difference for us because what we are interested in is the weight of the substance itself, not the substrate.
That will have to be put in place because we are just starting with this thing with the sample blood sampling. But that we'll have to look into it because the what do you call it, the law department, as well as because ultimately depending upon the substrate will be the quantum of punishment and the fine. So that is a critical point wherein the accused is living. And now here we are doing what? We are only doing analysis for the of the dead person, sample derived from that. Now the modalities will have to be worked out because the sample collection, sealing and all that thing and handing over to FSL, once they get machine with them, they'll have to sort out the issue. Subsequently, it has to be done because the quantum of punishment is depending upon the weight. Now, if I would be happy that all the soft drugs which are there, medically, I know many people who are taking it themselves for medical condition. Now see, a natural idiopathic condition wherein there's demyelination of the nerves, which is progressive. To regress, to stop it or slow it down, you require marijuana, THC. Now, if you don't get that, what you can't tell because he is having it that he's going to sell it to somebody. And he requires for his medical condition. If he has got a medical condition certified by a doctor, I don't see it any issue with it because the quantity what he's carrying, he's not going to profit anything. So those things will have to be worked out because as science is changing, the drug use also because see, olden times what used to happen, even coca they used to put for children to put them to sleep. In South America, it's very common. It is their natural diet. How we are eating fish curry, it is their diet for them. They're living with it. It is just because the West is craving for that lack of this thing, psychological peace, lack of psychological peace. Because if America stops buying narcotics, everything will stop. If there's no demand, there'll be no supply. Simple as that.
Just keep it this. Before I go to the people online who might have to ask a question, may I ask, I will ask a question to Dr. Andre here for, to ask, you have a, from what I'm told, Mr. Raju said that you have a years and years of experience and knowledge on this. So a question I would like to ask is, when you go to depose in a court, what would be you would say is your biggest frustration in the process as a doctor? Because a lot of times we feel that there is a transmission loss, if I may say so. You know a lot, right? You do a lot of procedures in your lab. Then you come to a court, which is a different domain. People who may not grasp the nuances of the technical side of it. And you have a defense counsel who may want to trip you up or mislead on the technical side. What would you say would be the biggest frustration for you as a witness, as a technical witness? And what would you expect the judges who are in charge of a court like an NDPS court to be aware of and to take precautions against?
Present day defense counsels are very smart.
That's what
They're very smart. The minute they ask a question, you know which side the thing is going. So, unfortunately, when Honorable Judge Nutan was there, Honorable Judge Bakre and all, they were there, they used to intervene and ask clarity by way of court question. Now that is not coming. That's not happening. So the whole load we have to answer because once the judge asks for the question, we answer to the court.
Correct.
That is given in total clarity without any bias because we are under oath ourselves. So it's clear cut. Defense counsel obviously is paid his money to do a job so that his client gets acquitted. So he'll do his work. So he will want to ask biased questions in order to discredit whatever evidence is there, what I have got. So that is his job.
Yeah.
Now, what happens is, if
Therefore,
the-
my
but
question
if
was
the
therefore, yes.
judge asks the question, then more clarity you can directly answer.
Just to follow up, like we come across cases, I mean, when we see, say a question is put to the witness, right? I mean, I've seen it in a couple of cases, not Goa people, but say outside experts in the past. So they will simply answer cannabis without giving the breakup. Now, cannabis is not punishable by itself
Right.
unless you come down. Now, that is one part of it. Another part, what Ms. Malvankar also said, referred to, is a question where again we see is the spot testing kit, which is by its nature very rudimentary, gives one result, correct? So it will say LSD. So when the report comes, it says MDMA. Now, how prevalent is this variance? And what is, because then the argument is that, see, there is a lapse in the chain of custody, or you have manipulated, or you have planted, or you have changed, or how can there be such a difference that what you thought was LSD is now MDMA? And the whole thing falls apart. How would you answer from a technical point of view this variance? And the other follow-up is that when you give the report, you give it to the IO. Would you then say, because then it gets lost sometimes or delayed, would a direct transmission to a court help?
See, there are a lot of things here. I might be wrong, I might be right. But now with the age of mobile phones, the IO can document everything by videography very clearly, seal the thing under videography, that sample. Once the seal is present, the problem is what? No punches are coming forward at the scene. So ultimately, all the things are done. I don't know, I might be wrong. They might be done somewhere else. And the stock witnesses which they have got, they might be using them. So that is
the drug detection kit.
that
My
is-
point is specific to the
See, tool.
how reliable is it, or what would be the
See-
false negative or the false positive?
See, I'll tell you, these kits which are there, they're produced by many companies which are not standardized. Now we have to have standard kits of ISI mark, which are verified and tested, controlled. One sample from that given batch has to be tested with all the things so that you know what is the veracity of the
of the-
accuracy. Accuracy is very important. Once we go for L1, obviously the accuracy is going to suffer. So this might come positive because with oxidation, the kit, if is not kept properly, with the climate variation, can get damaged also. So the only thing is what Randox is in total insulated this thing. So there's no issue at all with that. Now, how they use it and how they correlate the thing, the FSL will have to put things in place. But documentary evidence collection of the at the scene
At
and
the-
documentation, that has to be, is better to be done under videography. All IOs have got very good smartphones, which can with very good camera. So I don't find any issue with that.
No, there is a legal issue when it comes to proof. I mean, you are not concerned
Proof-
with it, but proof on the
The
on
proof is the
legal
see,
side. Yes. Yes.
see,
I will
every-
ask. I will go.
Every batch what we get of Randox, we run the control. Control every batch what we get of the kits. One kit is run only for purpose of control.
Just to give an example to the audience, doctor, you mentioned the GADA and the revenue stamp, for example, and the half-life of a drug.
Yeah.
Now, having kept the revenue stamp at a GADA with our humidities, our control, our climates, right? And the time it takes to sell it, assuming this, what by the time and the type of sealing and the time it goes now with the inventory and it
Okay.
goes to you, what
won't-
would be the level of the
Concentration might reduce because of humidity.
the intensity will reduce?
The concentration will reduce because of humidity, because half of it we might get sort of metabolized. But 60% efficacy will be there for that. So once that is sealed, I don't see fine any.
Then there is no issue for it testing
You won't,
positive.
MDMA won't become amphetamine or
No,
something
no,
like
no.
that.
LSD. Suppose it is LSD.
Yes.
How, because of the half-life, You said it is expressed,
Concentration will be less.
but it will test.
It will be LSD only. Concentration will be less. Ultimately, the quantum and the concentration will be important for the purpose of conviction and the fine and for
For
that
that
purpose. Yeah.
Yes. To go online, I mean, can I,
I have a,
sorry.
may I just ask one question?
Okay,
before
then
we
I'll
go
tell
online?
I'll tell the online people to get ready and raise whoever is ready to ask a question. I'll come to them after you.
Yes, thank you. My question was regarding the machines that are used in testing these narcotic substances and psychotropic substances. Now, one of the things that I seem to have gathered from today's workshop is that the role of the chemical analyst as technology has advanced has become smaller and smaller. You plant the sample and let the machine do its job. And you mentioned, Dr. Andre, also about a machine which was purchased some years ago, which cost more than 1 crore or something like that. Now, these machines, I take it, are purchased from very reputed things abroad and stuff like this. Now, in Goa, at Goa FSL, or for that matter, any of the FSLs in India, is there a process, a standardized procedure by which these machines are kept in a working order? Are they regularly checked? Do we have the technical expertise here to make sure that at all times they are giving correct results? And how is there any system in place to ensure this?
There's a system in place because every 6 months, the product engineer from the company visits, checks for orientation, tilt of camera, everything, all that is done, cleanliness, everything. When we are opening a new kit, that kit is standardized to the machine. We have to standardize it, control. So everything is controlled based upon the one, every kit which has got about 21 units has one which goes only for purpose of calibration. That is compulsory. Other the machine is not going to run the kits of that kit of that batch. So rest assured, there's nothing to worry. And as years go by, with artificial intelligence, things will become still, the role of human intervention will be minimal. It is only for collecting the sealed sample, that's all. And loading the thing, that's all. With either moment, what is happening, same thing. ELISA is running everything machine is doing, even printing. Now I can't even change the report. At what time I ran the sample, it shows. What time I took out the printout of the report, everything shows. Everything is transparent. There's nothing hidden.
But
No.
in your experience, when these technicians come once in 6 months, how often is it that they find things that need to be corrected?
There's no need. They don't. They just check the tilt of the camera and a cleanliness inside.
Okay.
Then other thing is, if anything happens to the motherboard, then the machine is sent to Dublin.
Can I go online now to the people watching online? Sorry, I'll just ask one person online to ask first. If there is nobody, I'll come back to you, Dr. Amankar. Somebody online?
Am I audible?
Yes.
I had raised my hand. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, I'm Judge Sharmila Patel, District Judge. I have dealt with many NDPS cases while officiating as District Judge in MAPSA. I have 4 questions basically, which is out of my own personal experience while dealing with NDPS matters. The first one is that sometimes the test at the spot by the IO is shown as positive. And in many cases, I have found in the lab it is negative. So is it possible in this manner? This is my first question. The second question is there any now, Madam Malvankar spoke about library where you have material for the GCMS and all those tests. Now, is there a standard reference material of the Government of India for the test? This is my second question. And what is it? What is the material? My third question is invariably asked during NDPS trials, is that a color test are presumptory in nature? I want a definite answer whether it is yes or no, presumptory or they are confirmatory in nature. And in the reports, invariably, this is my last question, sorry. Invariably in the reports I have found, whenever Charas reports have been shown positive, They say that it is hairs resembling to charas hair. Now, is this resembling to charas hair raises a doubt, or is it a confirmatory test that it is charas? So we can curtail some of the cross-examination on that resemblance of charas hair, because there are so many things come up when you say that it is resemblance and when you say it is confirmatory charas. So I would request the panel to kindly enlighten us on this 4 questions.
Hello, madam, I'll come to the last question first regarding the charas hair.
Yeah.
So when we do the microscopic test, we observe it in the microscope. So when it is ganja hair, what we do is when the fruiting flowering tops and the stalks which we get, we soak that in a alkaline medium, and that we observe. So what happens is that the leaf or the vegetative part, the stalk, they have those peculiar. The ganja has a particular feature, but when it comes
Yes.
to charas, it is resin form. So what they do is, so extraction of charas is mainly done by just
Rubbing hands.
rubbing the hands, and they get the extract. So in that extract, the hair which has a globule and a peculiar hair-like feature, a thorn-like feature, it breaks. So when it is globule with the TLC with that peculiar thorn-like feature, we say it's ganja hair. And when charas hair, it breaks down. So we could only see a part, like it's a cross section, like just a silly, what I say, sickle shape structure without that globule. That is resemblance. So that's why we say it's resembles to. Yeah. So it's just regarding the presumptive test. You asked some questions.
Yes, color tests are presumptive in nature.
Yeah, they are presumptive in nature, because
And
sometimes.
what would be the value of that?
So we don't give a value for just presumptive test. So for confirmation, we always do a TLC and then an instrumentation.
Okay, for
What
GCMS test and
can you
TLC, do we
deny?
have? Yes,
We
only
have
one
a
question on
library.
this to carry forward, the
regarding
GCMS.
the library something.
Yes, standard reference materials of Government of India.
So at presently at FSL, we have purchased the references from LCG Germany. So wherein we have all the
Okay.
standards. So what we do is, like, suppose we are running the test today for maybe other drugs or ganja, always we run a known control sample to the machine first. If the machine
Okay.
detects that control as the same control, then only we carry out all our analysis. And the library which we have in GCMS, it's the Ville and the NIST library. So this library is universal. So not only Goa FSL, it's all over the world. I mean, the other forensic lab also use it. It's the same library.
And my first question, ma'am, that if it is positive at the spot testing and the lab gets it negative, is it possible?
Some of the results which I had discussed, like liquid LSD is seized, but we get is MDMA. So this is all based on the reagents and the test we do. And it's just not our opinion. We give the result based on the instruments and the color test we perform. So maybe the spot kits which the IOs use, I mean, even Dr. Andre said that they are not of ISI mark. So maybe that could be one of the reasons.
So that could be a hitch in the chain of.
That's why spot test can be considered as a confirmatory test. That's why the sample needs to be sent to the forensic laboratory.
Thank you, ma'am.
To go back to Dr. Amankar, sorry.
Yes, doctor said you have stems coated with drugs, and also you have those strips coated with cocaine or whatever. So how measurement has to be, it is to be measured? How you will separate paper and this content of the drugs? How it can be?
That is based upon the concentration. We'll have to wash the stamp and then dry it, and then that's how it has been done. Because when I'd gone for training to FSL at Hyderabad, that is the way they showed us the method. For the whatever you get, they wash it, dry it in the dryer, and the powder which is there is weighed, and that is how they give the weight of the substance for purpose of NDPS, because that is the most important
Anybody else has a question? Yeah. Then I will ask one then, sorry. To switch the whole thing, to ask you certain things about schizophrenia. For example, you referred to schizophrenia, not the genetic type. You said that certain amphetamines, if taken for keeping awake or during exams, can lead to schizophrenia. Now, for people, for an ordinary person or a student taking, what form would that take? Like, would that be a, say, a commonly known or an available tablet or a syrup?
It is available in the pharmacy. It's a Schedule H drug for which prescription is required. But as you know, you can get ketamine even on in the pharmacy without any prescription. So in Goa, things are very lax. But the only hope is if any person is taking, he shouldn't take it for years together. Regular use, uninterrupted use for minimum a year will definitely lead you to schizophrenia. Just for the purpose of exam, just to keep awake till 2, 3, to keep mentally attentive for the purpose of study, just a period for 1 week, not issue.
Anybody has? Mr. Porekar wants to have the last laugh. Sorry.
But doctor, see the respect to cannabis, cultivation of cannabis is generally prohibited under NDPS Act. But definition of ganja says that seeds and leaves are excluded from the ganja definition. So as of today, we find lot of product in the market like immunity powder, toothpaste, and whatever, which are made from leaves and seeds. Now, so my question to you is whether this leaves and seeds has any amount of cannabinol, cannabinoid, or THC.
There will
Any
be some amount.
There is.
There will be some amount. Because as I'm telling you, Indian hemp is prevalent to our country. You cannot take it out from this thing, because sometime back, traffic islands were full of Indian hemp plants. So it is, and many people do growing it. Although they might keep it in the balconies or whatever it is, it's being grown for everybody. Everybody is growing. Because what is happening, see, it's not available. Now, doctor only is telling you take little bit, because for demyelination is the best. For the myelin sheet to come back, now if you don't take that, demyelination will keep a progressive thing will happen, you'll get convulsions and all those problems will be there. For medical condition, now what if people are supposed to do is bend. So other option is to grow, no?
One more question, doctor. In 2014, they have amended the definition of medicinal cannabis is bought in the NDPS Act. So my question is, what is different between the medicinal cannabis and cannabis found on the street? Is one of the same or just
It's not the same. It's not
package good?
because that is made by the company.
So it's a package good from the same.
It's sealed. It'll be in tablet form, which is hygienically processed and all without anything. Yeah, what you get in the market, there's a lot of crude, because everybody wants to profit from the situation. They'll put anything.
I'm on an effect. So the effect will be almost same.
Effect will be obviously less. No?
Mistake.
It will be less, because all adulterants, everything will be put in it and sold to you. Now this will be as per IP, Indian Pharmacopoeia, that much percentage is there.
Thank you. Doctor, I have seen people addicted to alprazolam, sleeping tablets. What kind of narcotics are these?
Alprazolam is nothing but benzodiazepine, wherein they are anxiolytic group of drugs. They reduce the anxiety. But what happens, anxiolytic is supposed to be a short term and it has to be tapered off. Now, if you take it for long, then it
Yes.
is a big problem for everybody.
It's because my neighbor finally she suffered stroke, and all this time I realized that she had anger issues. After she died, I did research on stroke where I found that anger was a symptom of the tablets. And there was so much, don't need to tell you, when a person simply gets angry with the close people who are closest to them, like she was bordering on all kind of mental illness because of that. But
Because ultimately what happens, as you grow old, patience decrease and you get angry soon.
no, she was addicted, doctor, because even after the stroke, she wanted that.
No, addict you are saying, but what happens is it's a prescription drug, no? For her to get it, the pharmacy has made a categorical mistake by not asking for the prescription, doctor's prescription. How she was getting an unlimited supply then?
She was addictive, so she had somehow manipulated her way into every month getting the tablet. So that aside,
That we
doctor,
see,
yeah, she had a miserable
checks and
life.
balances are made by the government. Schedule, as per the schedule, age, all drugs, prescription dispensed on the date doctor has put, the pharmacy has put his stamp and is to put dispensed on so and so date, so that it doesn't go to the next pharmacy and reused. Now, if pharmacies are not putting this thing in place, then anybody can abuse the system, no?
But looking at her addiction, doctor, for 300 rupees, she would get a prescription and then she would buy. This continued for years and she had a very miserable death. And now that apart, doctor, my question may sound foolish. Ganja, marijuana, I hope I pronounce it right. What would be consequences if it is made legal? Because there are many advocates of marijuana who say it should be made legal because it's a recreational drug.
There should be a quantity which is fixed.
Yes, doctor. Yes,
A
doctor.
quantity has to be fixed. Not only THC, no other product. Because
Only,
other products, they don't have any medical scientific background.
only which product, doctor?
Tetrahydrocannabinol, cannabis, only one.
Thank you, doctor. One more thing, this is for Mr. Bobe. I have had 2 clients only who were caught with green substance, obviously ganja. But the petty criminals have become so smart, they go to jail and then they stay there for some time and they know the law better than us. They plead guilty, will pay a fine, we come out. And so the cycle continues. So, I don't know.
Neither do I. So anybody else has a question? The judge is here. Anybody has a procedural question when it comes to the technical witnesses? Or the prosecutors? On the procedure as a technical witness, any difficulties you face, which can be asked? Otherwise, nobody online, any has questions? Otherwise, we close. Yeah. I think Justice Sirsas wants to ask a question. Because, sorry, would you like to ask something to the? Thank you. So thank you all for coming. I think Mr. Desai, sorry, are you here?
Thank you to our speakers and moderator for a very interactive session. I'm sure it was of great help. I now request Advocate Salil Lavande to present a token of appreciation to our moderator, Mr. Shailendra Bobe. I request Advocate Mohit Rao, who is the Legal Aid Defense Counsel, to present a token of appreciation to Dr. Andre Fernandez. I request Advocate Priyanka Shetye to present a token of appreciation to Ms. Shraddha Malvankar. To formally conclude this workshop, I now invite Advocate Shivan Desai to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Misbah.
on behalf of the Goa State Legal Services Authority and the Goa High Court Bar Association, I express my deepest gratitude to all those who've participated in the workshop. First and foremost, the chairperson of the Goa State Legal Services Authority, Honorable Justice Menezes, for conceiving a workshop of this nature on an important topic. Honorable Justice Sirsat, who's present with us today, not just for his participation today, but overall support and his moderation during the second session, which I thought was extremely insightful. Honorable Mr. Chavan is not with us today, but we acknowledge his support as well, right, through the function. We have Honorable Justice Dangre was also there on the first day, so I do acknowledge her contribution and her support. We have Senior Advocate Mr. Desai today, who has made an effort to be here. We appreciate that. Learned Principal District Judge, Judge Aga, who has been there for all the 3 sessions and has extended the support. The other district judges present here and there online. I think almost all of them were there online for their continued support. The resource persons. Today we have Dr. Fernandez and Mrs. Malvankar, and all the resource persons who have spoken earlier. We have the learned, our civil judges who've been there for all the 3 sessions and physically as also online. We really appreciate the effort despite it being all of the days being working days. The Inspector General of Police and all the police inspectors for attending the function and extending their support. We have the Director of Goa State Forensic Services Laboratory, Sasutosh Apte, I believe is not present today, but he was part of the previous sessions and has generally extended his support for the function. Member Secretary, Goa State Legal Services Authority, Mrs. Shabnam Sheikh, for putting in the efforts and piecing it all together. The members of the Goa High Court Bar Association, present physically and virtually. The president and members of the Bar Association of North and South. The some students, if I believe there are a few students here, some freshers, junior associates, the media personnel for covering all the 3 workshops, technical team of the High Court of Bombay at Goa, and all the participants for today's workshop. I am assuming I've covered everyone. So thank you. I should make a mention of the learned registrar, who's incidentally is not on the list, but we have the Deputy Assistant Registrar with us, and the registrar was also there right through the session. I believe he had to leave. So thank you, everyone. And today, Advocate Bobe, I think he conducted the session extremely well. And so we thank you, Advocate Bobe, and look forward to your support in future. Thank you.
We hope today's session has added value to your understanding and interpretation of forensic evidence in legal contexts. Participants who have joined us virtually, thank you for being a part of this important discourse. Let us continue this journey of learning and collaboration for a more informed and just legal system. Thank you and have a great evening.
A special mention to the Director of Prosecution. I don't know if she's here, but they must be there online. All the public prosecutors are always there for all the functions, and we really appreciate their support. Thank you.